You come off as one of those people who I feel like would have ran away from home to join the circus.
I can ride a unicycle.
You seem like that kind of kid.
I would have been doing all kinds of cool things.
You probably would have made it too. Like 9 times out of 10, that's a failure story on the kids, and they end up back home. You would have been that.
I would have been that guy.
You would have been that guy. You would have been the amazing Meyerberg.
Great name. Why I start using that?
Oh God, what have I done? Hello and welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List, and at this point I'd like to take this opportunity to announce my candidacy for the presidential race.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah.
I'll vote for you, Nick.
President of the media club, not the actual one. No. Oh. Yeah, no, not that one.
Well, in that case, I'd like to tell you.
You'd like to announce yours. Yeah, welcome back. You've been busy this summer, so it's always good to have you on here.
Feels like it's a wild summer.
Feels like it's been a wild one for you for sure here.
Yeah.
But
and I missed a bunch of good movies, missed a bunch of crazy news cycle, missed all kinds of stuff. But I'm catching back up. I'm getting there slowly but surely.
Well, the good news is you didn't miss out this weekend. This weekend, we'll see the premiere of, is it safe to say, the most anticipated movie of 2024? Not just of the summer, but of 2024?
Yeah, I think so. I would say so.
I'd say going into this year, we were hyped for Deadpool and Wolverine. And, well, it's finally happening.
Yeah.
Here it is.
I would say
it's here.
I would say, yeah.
So with that, usually we would do like a timeline breakdown, because there's been a long build up to this franchise and everything. We like to inform people. We like to let them know as much details as they can before going into the movie. Mm-hmm. The X-Men timeline is wild, crazy, and not really relevant anymore, if we're going to be completely honest. So instead, we're going to do a simple movie ranking. But not just any old movie ranking. Well, we do things a little bit more complicated here on PBL. Top 6 X-Men movies. Why top 6? Why not just do top 5? Well, like I said, we like to do things a little bit weird here on PBL, first of all. We like to stand out from the crowd.
That's right.
But also because if you kind of read some of the comics, oftentimes they sort of rank mutant power levels through like 6 sort of ranking, so to speak. So I thought we would kind of do something similar here. Yeah. A little bit of a tie into the X-Men franchise and everything like that. So just like that, we're going to rank the top 6 X-Men movies. Deadpool and Wolverine will be the 14th in the franchise, but we have not seen that yet, so we're just going to hold off on that.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. So, but that still means there's 13 to be considered here.
Yep. And we're actually talking just the live action movies, none of the cartoons or
the theatrical released ones, and yes, that does include New Mutants. Will it end up on either of our lists?
Who knows?
Maybe. Anyways, so yeah, let's just kick things off with number 6 in the mutant ranking world. This is known as the Epsilon level. These are the lowest level. I don't really know what that means, but it sounds cool. Do you know what that means?
No.
Okay. It looked like you were trying to find the definition, like you had it somewhere in your memory bank.
I was thinking something, but it's not what I was thinking.
Okay. Basically, these are the lowest level mutants. They have the least amount of power. More often than not, it's it's just you have the mutant gene.
They're there.
Yeah, you don't really
They're there.
do much. So number 6, Mr. Meyerberg, why don't you kick us off?
I went with Wolverine. This is kind of the reason I went with that one is I like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I thought he is probably the strongest relatable character and strong. I don't mean like physically strongest, but he is like one of the strongest characters of the franchise that's been around the whole time. And this was kind of our first not solo film of his, but much more of a main focus on Wolverine. And so, yeah, that's why I put it.
This is the one with the train sequence, correct?
Yep.
That is a really fun scene to rewatch. That's a really cool portion of that movie for sure.
I need to. I haven't seen that probably for a few years. I was going
to say it's been a while since I've seen it all the way through, but every once in a while, if it's on TV or something like that. But I think that one's a little bit of an underrated one as well. My number 6, I'm going to go with Deadpool 2.
Oh, okay.
This was the second outing for the Merc with the Mouth. You had the huge like Avengers Infinity War Endgame kind of going around at the same time. Or it was Infinity War that it came out in the same year, I believe, actually, now that I think about it. And you had all the hype with that. It was hard to come out of that shadow. But Deadpool 2 did, with not as big of stakes. There wasn't a huge... I mean, there was a team up at the end, but it wasn't like a huge culmination. It wasn't like it was leading to this story. It was just Deadpool being Deadpool.
Yeah.
And they nailed it with the first one, and I think they pretty much nailed it with the second one as well. So I think it's got some really funny bits. And that credits scene, or the opening credits alone, kind of lets you know what kind of movie you're in for sure.
Well, both opening sequences in both films are fantastic.
Yep. Let's see here. What do you got for number 5 then?
Number 5,
top 5.
I actually went with X-Men Apocalypse.
Really?
Yeah. Because
we might have to debate this. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Because you have it higher, or you don't have it on at all?
I don't have it on at all.
I see. The reason I did it, because the one, it brings in Eric's strong roots with you might have to censor this for YouTube, but when he goes to the Holocaust camp Auschwitz, and I've been there, not Auschwitz, but I've been to a concentration camp, but the kind of into his backstory feeding in with that, and I just remember the you're stronger, like you can move the earth, you're stronger than you are. Apocalypse will show you how to be stronger. And the scene where he puts his hand on the ground and he's thinking of his family and the atrocities that happen, that always has just stuck with me. And I just, that part is enough for me to put it in my top 6. I don't know if you can say some of those words on YouTube, just so you know.
I don't know what you can say on YouTube anymore at this point. Go ahead, demonetize us. I dare you.
Take our invisible pennies away.
Yeah, exactly. I dare you, YouTube. I'm calling you out. I can't argue against that scene, because that is one of the best scenes in that movie. Yeah. I will give you that. This movie does have some pretty good scenes. My biggest problem with that movie is Apocalypse.
Yeah.
First of all, it looks like Oscar Isaac is constantly in a chokehold in that costume where he just can't move. And like, I'm starting to think, was that his voice, or could he literally not breathe?
Yeah, it is not good.
Second of all, a lot of times comic book movies are built on their villains, and I think a huge part is I have to know what the abilities are with the villain, so I know the stakes. I cannot definitively tell you all of Apocalypse's powers.
Yeah.
And what they are. Because at one point, he's fighting against Quicksilver, and he himself is not moving super fast, but he can see super fast. Like, okay, throughout all his transfers of mutant abilities, which one gave him that?
Yeah.
At one point, they were just like, look, we're gathering you the most powerful mutants ever, all right? And he's like, great, awesome, you've been doing a good job. What's the next one? Well, this guy here, he can see super fast. Oh, so he can move? No, he can just see super fast, but he himself cannot move super fast.
He cannot move super fast.
He's for the plot, and I can't. You had Oscar Isaac, man, and he's done so good in other things.
And he just looks so goofy.
I know,
and like he's not tall. Half of them are taller than him. He just doesn't look like a good bad guy.
This is like the mutant god of X-Men.
Yeah, and in that scene, he actually references him as the god.
He also launches all the nukes and does nothing with them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I can get behind Michael Fassbender in any of those X-Men movies. Yes. He is great.
Yep.
But I cannot get behind Apocalypse on that one there.
And that's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
Anyways, so my number 5, I'm going to go with X2. This is another sequel.
X-Men United.
X-Men United, yes. You want to talk about a scene, that Nightcrawler scene right away from the beginning is well choreographed. Mm-hmm. Got some really good digital effects, great music. And Alan Cumming, I believe is his name, if I'm pronouncing it right, playing Nightcrawler. He is diabolical throughout all this movie.
Diabolical. Great words.
Thank you. Pulled up the source this morning. But I mean, you talked about that Magneto scene in Apocalypse. You still have to get through like halfway through the movie to get to that point, and then it kind of like reinvigorates you to watch throughout the rest.
Yeah,
that one was right out the gate. They were swinging for the fences right out the gate there with that one, and I think the actual plan and everything that, them having that kind of team up with Magneto nowadays is a little bit of a cliche in these X-Men movies.
Yeah.
But at the time was the first time we saw that.
First time, yeah.
So I don't know. Every time I watch it, I enjoy it a little bit more and more. But that is my number 5, aka the Delta level mutants.
The Delta, okay.
Delta, yeah. Let's move on to Gamma. Ryan, what do you got for number 4?
I went with X-Men First Class. I really enjoyed this one. I liked seeing Professor X younger, and I liked because I believe they I could be wrong. Was Wolverine in this one?
For a cameo, yeah.
Yeah, he was just
This was the bar scene.
It was
cameo.
Yeah, he's just like no or whatever. Yeah, like that's.
I know for sure we can't say that word on YouTube.
Yeah. But no, I really enjoyed that one. It was good, and I liked what's his name as Professor X?
James McAvoy.
James McAvoy. I like him. Yeah, I think he does a pretty good younger Professor X. A hippie. He's like a hippie.
Yeah.
Professor X.
He was a little bit more of an immature Professor X,
Yes.
which was sort of a different take than what we had seen Patrick Stewart.
Because right away, I kind of really didn't like him, but then as you kind of get into it, it's like okay, he's not. Full Professor X yet. He's just a jabroni trying to do something.
You're kind of not supposed to like him.
Yeah.
Until the end, when he's like, and he's always had like a good heart, but he was kind of using his powers to get the girls or whatever.
Yeah.
But then as he was, I think the Cerebro scene was the pivotal moment where he kind of made that turn towards Patrick Stewart, Professor X. Because then he was like, oh my gosh, there are so many more out there than I realized. We have to help these people.
Yeah.
Some are in better and worse situations. And I think that was kind of the turn there. But yeah, both him and Michael Fassbender had a tough job because you had these two actors who had pretty much owned those roles for about 3 movies. Everyone loved those.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Both of them.
And then they had to take over.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's good luck.
Yeah.
Have fun. Yeah, I'm going to go for my Gamma level, aka number 4. I'm going to go with Deadpool. This is, I will never ever say there's such thing as a perfect movie. This is about as perfect as you could for what the goals of the movie were.
Besides Godzilla -1.
I don't know why you felt the need to bring that up now, but okay, yeah, sure. Let's compare Deadpool to Godzilla -1, I suppose.
You're talking about perfect movies.
I guess. Yeah,
all right, I'm derailing you.
I mean, yeah, you're right, but it's, but I don't know. It's considering everything Ryan Reynolds had to do to get this movie made.
Yep.
The years, the hurdles, the leaking of the test
leaking
footage.
Of your own
we'll never know who did it.
Yeah.
It was probably Ryan, but we'll never know who did it. And the fact that this movie could have, if this movie doesn't work, I mean, I think the X-Men franchise as a whole, maybe, I don't know if it stops there, but it's harder to recover because other people didn't like Apocalypse as much or some of the other movies, but like at the same time, everyone was like, but at least they got Deadpool right. Everyone was kind of able to hold on to that. He's been kind of carrying the X-Men franchise, whatever left there was, for about a decade here.
Yeah.
And I think it starts with Deadpool. But with that, let's move into top 3. This is beta level. All right, what do you got for number 3?
I'm going with X-Men Days of Future Past. I really enjoyed this. I love that kind of era, the 60s era of history of the world. Also, Peter Dinklage, I really like him. He's just the man. And we kind of had our little X-Men.
We don't need to bring that up.
Yeah, we don't need to bring that up.
We both admitted to some stuff.
Yeah, we probably should say that again. But no, I really enjoyed it. That was great. Everybody did a good job.
This is interesting because I also have X-Men Days of Future Past as my number 3.
Really?
Yes, I do. So
because we're the same person, probably.
No, that's not. You're gonna get those theories online now. No, I think the main thing with this movie is, at this point we had seen McAvoy and Fassbender as the younger ones. We had seen Stewart and E. McKellen as the older ones. And you kind of have these two sort of segments or these fan bases, whatever you want to call it. And this movie had to juggle all of the characters that were set up in those younger ones had to juggle all the characters who had these huge histories and new ones in this older one.
Yep.
And also take on one of the most important X-Men comics of all time. Now, they fumbled Dark Phoenix at least 3 times.
At least 3 times.
They kind of nailed Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job with it.
While also juggling all of these characters, but not like feeling like any of them were kind of wasted or thrown away.
Or side pieces.
Or anything like that. This is something that Infinity War would do later on too, was like they kind of found a way to balance out all these different groups in these different locations. In this case, it was time periods. But yeah, I love the old-timey feel of this one as well. Going back, Wolverine not having the metal claws, but still having claws.
Yep.
And that Quicksilver scene, holy cow. That may be one of the best scenes in comic book history.
That's the one where they're breaking.
That's the one in the kitchen. They're breaking Magneto out.
Yep.
And it's the first time where he like slows everything down and does the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like I was blown away in the theater.
Yeah.
When I saw that. This one may be the most difficult one for me here. The number 6 seed, Footloose, versus the number 11 seed, Karate Kid. Who's voting Footloose? Who's voting Karate Kid? I thought I was going to have to fight for that one.
Nope.
I thought for sure I was going to have to fight for that one. I had like a whole argument ready to go.
Sorry,
He just
Karate
crane
Kid.
kicked Footloose out of here. No more dancing. I'm going to get heat from my mom on that one. But yeah, let's move on to number 2, aka Alpha Level. Alpha Level. That's right. The top, not quite the top dog, but pretty close. What is your essentially number 2 pick?
So my number 2 pick is the first Deadpool. And you kind of hit a lot of the things about this film, but it just was, to me, it was so, I don't want to say new and inventive, but it wasn't. But the way Ryan Reynolds can break character and like talk to the screen and talk to you, but still not like get pulled out of that Deadpool world. It's just kind of like, it just fits in there. It makes sense. That actually is a hard thing to do, to make a character that wild, crazy, all over the place, doing these weird things, but still keep you drawn into it. Because there's characters like that in other movies, but don't have the same effect that Deadpool does. And everybody can, I think a good majority of people can see themselves, their superhero being the Deadpool. I'm funny, I'm kind of a badass, like all that. And yeah, I think it was awesome.
I mean, if I had Deadpool's powers, I'd probably be joking around doing that.
I'd be a goof too.
Yeah, for sure.
An even bigger goof.
Yeah, it would be an even bigger goof, for sure. I would argue, Deadpool is one of the perfect beginnings for a character. For my number 2, I'm going to say is arguably one of the best endings for a character, Logan. This is, I mean, the way it's shot, Hugh Jackman gives his best performance. Stewart gives one of his best performances as this character. The action at the end, so gritty, but it feels more epic than any of the battles Wolverine had been in before.
Yeah.
And I think we all kind of knew how this story was going to end going into the theater. We all kind of had that sneaking suspicion in our head. So I can't say it was a plot twist, but it's even harder to pull something like that off when your audience kind of already knows it's coming and you still feel it.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. I've never cried at a comic book movie, but I was darn near close on that one.
Oh yeah. And there was a lot of, sorry.
No, I was finished. Go ahead.
Well, that's my number 1, so I'll just.
Oh, that's your number. Okay, then. All right. Omega level. Those are the strongest mutants. Yours is Logan. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you think?
Same thing. The story was great. Everybody loved Wolverine. This was, quote unquote, his last time he was ever going to play the character.
At the time, we thought it was.
And I think at the time he thought it was too.
Yeah.
Like he said, I'm done. I'm not coming back. But obviously a situation like this presents itself, yeah, you're gonna do it. But one of the scenes that I really like is I can't remember what movie the girl was watching during the movie. She's sitting down watching a TV. I want to say it was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly when they were going through the cemetery. Because or maybe it was something else, but that's where she learned to make like the cross that when they bury him, and she makes the cross for him, but it turns over and it's an X.
I think doesn't she pick it up and then turn it into an X?
I don't know.
I think someone else made. I think they made the cross, and then as they're about to leave, she like looks back and then turns it into an X. I think.
Yeah. But that was powerful, and like kind of the whole like obviously he never had. I don't think he had any kids.
No,
but
not in the movies.
Yeah, not in the movies.
In the comics, I mean, everyone was with everyone.
Yeah,
whatever.
But obviously, you still get that like father-daughter relationship, and he was a good parental figure to like to her, and so like there's a lot of layers to it too, and yeah, it was just fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, at some point too. He's referring to Fantastic Four, in case you didn't pick up on that. So my number one, my Omega level, I'm going with X-Men First Class.
Okay.
This one had to, you have to remember, the first two X-Men movies did really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one was a little bit of a misstep.
Yep.
I think it did well financially because it was X-Men. It was the third one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty hit or miss. X-Men Origins Wolverine, though, is when the bus drove off the cliff.
Yep.
That movie's terrible.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst comic book movies I've ever seen. And I'm not saying that as hyperbole. When people kept talking about Morbius being this terrible, I'm like, did you all forget X-Men Origins Wolverine exists? Because that's worse. So it was a really tough job to not only A, rebuild the seriousness of the X-Men franchise, but B, do it with actors and new actors doing characters we already knew, like we kind of discussed before, while also introducing some newer mutants that were not as well known. Mm-hmm. And also, while doing it to, I don't know if they knew this at the time, but sort of branch off into what would become the Days of Future Past storyline.
Yeah.
But Matthew Vaughn, he pulled it off, man. He is the guy Fox calls when they need him to save their butt, especially when Fantastic Four comes out later on.
Yeah.
We'll maybe talk about that later. I love the action. I love the way the characters, the young version of these characters interact. I mean, Patrick Stewart's Professor X is great, but here we got to really see him kind of teach these kids how to use their mutant abilities and like find different ways for each one. He couldn't apply the same technique for Havoc as he could with Banshee.
Yeah.
But also the frenemy ship between Professor X and Magneto, you have to see how they're friends first. And man, those two actors pull it off. Like when they kind of split apart at the end of that movie, you're like, no, why couldn't you stick together?
Yeah.
You could have done so much good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Just all the stakes it had leading up to it and what it eventually established, I wouldn't want that pressure. I wouldn't. I don't know how they pulled it off, but they did. So yeah,
very good. That's a pretty good list. We had a lot of overlap.
I kind of figured we would.
Yeah.
I wanted to put Wolverine on this list. I really did. It's my honorable mention. It's close.
Yeah. But
I couldn't put it above some of these other ones. But yeah, besides Apocalypse, I like your list too. Anyways, that's not going to be the last time we're going to be talking about mutants here, but there are a few things also coming out here this weekend. So let's transition into the weekly preview. Thursday, July 25th, Cirque du Soleil Without a Net, coming straight to Prime Video. It's
kind of misleading.
Yeah, a little bit.
Very misleading,
I would say, because I wonder if this was one of those situations where a documentary crew was already there and then certain news events in the world happened and things kind of got switched up.
Because we can't say it.
Yeah, apparently that's
the word.
I'm going to say it. Come at me, YouTube. Yeah, so this documentary talks about one of the most popular circuses. Circus Eyes? Is it Circus Eyes?
Ooh, no, that's too close to...
Oh, yeah, no, that's not. No. Yeah, whatever the plural form of circus is.
Yeah.
Circa? we're gonna say circa.
All right.
Anyways, yeah, basically it was shut down temporarily during the COVID-19 pandemic. This story kind of talks about how did they bounce back into the spotlight,
Because they filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, name a person or organization that wasn't negatively affected by that whole time period. But
I got one for you.
Okay.
Video Magic Production. They were not negatively impacted.
Okay.
Shout out.
Fair enough. You found the one. Anyways, but you had let's talk about circuses for a minute here. Circusi, whatever. They were not as popular.
No.
Leading up to this decade as they had been in decades past, specifically the 1900s. So you add that struggle. You already have the most popular circus of all time with some of the most talented people. Even they aren't doing the greatest. Then you add this. How do you rebound from that?
Yeah,
It's kind of an inspirational story because they do end up trying to bring it back, trying to bring the show, and they even talk about, he's like, look, we're entertainers. We're trying our best to make sure that for at least a couple hours, people can
forget about the world,
forget about everything that's happening, and just be entertained by our show.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we screw up, it's going to put a little damper on the experience, right?
Yeah. You're going to fall in a pool of water.
Hey, that hurts from high up. That hurts from high up. What is that? How does that look?
No, it looks really good. I'm excited to see it. I was kind of hoping it was going to be like actual like stuff, and if you fall, you're just done. But no, it's in a pool of water. But not saying it's any less cool. It's just the outcome is less dangerous. I'd like to see
you pull some trapeze from that high up.
Yeah,
there, buddy.
The outcome is less dangerous. But yeah, it's I have always had a curiosity and or fascination with the Cirque du Soleil stuff because they do wild things, and like gymnasts and dancers and people all over the world try to like do this stuff, and it's top tier. It's really good.
You come off as one of those people who I feel like would have ran away from home to join the circus.
I can ride a unicycle, and I am very good at it.
Did you ever run away from home to try and join the circus?
I did try to run away from home once, but wasn't joining the circus.
I feel like you would have ended up in the circus if you
probably
followed through with that. You seem like that kind of kid.
I would have been doing all kinds of cool things.
You probably would have made it too. Like 9 times out of 10, that's a failure story on the kids, and they end up back home. You would have been that.
I would have been that guy.
You would have been that
guy.
You would have been the Amazing Meyerberg.
Great name. Why start using that?
Oh God, what have I done? What have I done? Anyways, let's just move on from that then. Let's just transition. Friday, July 26th, the big ticket item, Deadpool and Wolverine, coming straight to theaters. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the first R-rated MCU movie officially. I guess technically if you don't count Venom, which I guess you don't. Anyways, technically this is Ryan Reynolds' 4th outing as Deadpool. This will be Hugh Jackman's
4th outing?
Because X-Men Origins Wolverine. He was Wade Wilson. That does technically count. And so then this will be that and then 3 movies.
Okay.
So that's 4. This will be Hugh Jackman's 10th time as Wolverine. Hey, you know what they say? Play Wolverine 10 times and the 11th one's free. Thank you. There's really nothing else we can really preview with this. Everyone kind of knows what they're expecting with this one here, I feel like. But I think it's time for another game of Guess the Cameo. What is some of our predictions for a surprise cameo for this movie? That. They've spoiled quite a few of them already, but I feel like they're holding on to a few.
They've spoiled a few?
There was like that more recent trailer. I'm not going to talk about it because if people haven't seen it. Okay. I kind of hated that they included it. That's all I'm going to say. But
okay. Because I'm curious as to, are they going to go more an X-Men route or are they going to go more Marvel? Mm-hmm. Are they going to do more, oh, hey, is that the Iron Heart? Wasn't that the girl?
Yeah.
Like, or is it going to be like, oh, Spider-Man's here? Like what, you know, I don't
like a live action Miles Morales, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool.
That actually would, or even just the animated Miles, like walks out of like.
Kind of like how in Spider-Verse they had a live action Prowler in the animated movie.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be really cool. I'd be down for that.
Maybe they have like King Conqueror pop up.
I don't know if they had time to recast that yet. I'm curious.
Yeah, what's your guess?
So one of the big things in the trailer was there's obviously like a wizard portal that they jump into. My biggest question since the beginning is who's creating the portal? I don't think it's Doctor Strange. I think a lot of people are going to assume it's Wong. I think it'd be funny as heck if all of a sudden it was Tilda Swinton again, just from the past, because that would be the thing that people would at least expect.
Tilda Swinton.
Because she was the ancient one in the first Doctor Strange
movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just think that'd be funny. Because that's a Deadpool thing to subvert our expectations, like push this, it's going to be Wong, it's going to be Doctor Strange, it's going to be whoever you've met before, and then all of a sudden it's Tilda Swinton again.
And he goes through and she's like, what are you doing here? The events of Avengers, Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame have not occurred yet.
Yeah, something like that.
Like verbatim, like the movie titles.
Yeah. I think that would be kind of funny, kind of subverting the expectation there. Who do we think is going to be Lady Deadpool?
Oh, that's a great question. Is there anybody cool that's died lately any ladies that have died lately? Oh, Scarlett Johansson? What if that happened? That would be cool.
That one would be pretty funny. It'd be either that or
Red Skull.
It's just Red Skull again.
Yeah.
These would all be great. Fox and or Disney, hit us up. We'll write Deadpool 4 for you.
We could do some stuff.
Yeah, I think we could figure some stuff out. Like I said, I don't know what else to say about this movie. It's one of the most highly anticipated of the year. I think they've nailed it 2 for 2 with these Deadpool movies. I see no reason why they can't go 3 for 3.
Yeah,
in this one. So I don't know. Any other thoughts on Deadpool Wolverine? Any other cameos we think is going to happen? I don't know. I like this game. We could keep playing that, I suppose.
Yeah. The one that I think they have to do either an introduction, because isn't Fantastic Four coming out in like a year or two?
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe a Fantastic Four reference or some sort of whatever's on the docket next year for Marvel. What if Sam, Captain America shows up?
That could be a good one. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Or Bucky.
I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say here is now that essentially all these studios have at least some connection or another, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Before, when we would kind of bet this stuff, it's like, oh, well, no, it can't be that character because Fox isn't a part of it yet.
Yeah.
Now it's, okay, it could kind of be anyone here. It's open. Gates are open. Last one we're going to talk about here very briefly, The Fabulous Four. This one's also coming to theaters. 4 college friends reunite after many years for a last-minute wedding. However, some unresolved past tension comes boiling to the surface. To be fair, I don't think this movie is breaking any new ground on the old friends reunite trope.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think these are funny people that are a part of this, so I do think there are going to be some laughs.
You'll have to let me know.
Someone's going to have to let me know.
Yeah, because I watched the trailer. I actually fell asleep during the trailer and had my CPAP machine and everything going. Woke up, took it off, looked back. It'd only been like 30 seconds. And I still had to watch the rest of the trailer. So, I don't know.
I hope the stars of that movie aren't watching this.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if they are, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Bette Midler, definitely. Yeah. BBL fan, probably.
Yep.
No,
hopefully the people that this movie's made for, I think they should really like
That's just it. Not everyone's going to see Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah.
This is something else.
Yeah.
Another option, if you will. Anyways, let's move on here then to number 1 recommends. Ryan, you were out last week, so I'll let you go first. Gotta know where you're going with this one here. What is
Long Legs?
Okay.
Awesome. Check it out. Very artsy, horror, psychological. It's wild. Loved it. Nicolas Cage, can't even tell it's him till towards the end. Fantastic. Go check it out if you like scary and horror. It's not really super bloody, gory. There's a few things, but it's mostly psychological thriller, horror, with a little bit of magic.
Oh.
It's really good. Really good.
So last week we talked tornado movies. I was able to watch a few more before and after Twisters. I'm gonna recommend my favorite of the tornado movies that I watched last week.
Supercell.
No, that was number 2, but pretty close. 13 Minutes is what it's called. Out of all of them, this one actually probably has like shots of a tornado the least amount, but it made it more relatable. So like it wasn't like this huge outbreak day of like you're dodging tornadoes left and right, which is pretty unrealistic. It was basically telling the story of like sort of a small town, what happens kind of leading up to, during, and the after, just a little bit of the aftermath of a huge monstrous tornado coming through the area. And one of the things I noticed, especially in the second half of the movie, is the damage looks really accurate. Like I was like about to Google, did they just film this after an F5 tornado? Because it looked kind of like it. So props to the prop and set designers, really. I think the story is a little bit more relatable. I think it's not the usual storm chasers going out doing some sci-fi stuff. It is just showing the effect something like this has on real life people that we see almost every year. And I think is something we don't see enough of in these movies. You don't have to make them all action-packed to make them impactful. That's what I'm going to end on.
Great
right there.
line.
Thank you. Well, that's going to do us for here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Another reminder, check out our social media channels to check out more movie talk between us. More than likely, we'll be posting a Deadpool Wolverine review sometime this week.
Yep.
I'm very much looking forward to it. I might see it more than once. We'll have to wait and see. For myself and Ryan Meyerberg, I'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.